The old masters often relied on symbolism to provide narrative context and to identify characters for the illiterate viewer. For instance, most of the figures in Imola's Coronation of the Virgin can be identified by their specific attributes. Attributes are garments or objects connected with a certain figure. Notice that Imola identifies Mary Magdalene, the foreground figure to the right of Christ's throne, by her long flowing hair. John the Baptist, who stands on the left, can be identified by his animal skin garment and reed cross. Sometimes an attribute is connected to the figure's martyrdom. For example, Catherine of Alexandria, just behind Magdalene on the right, was a 3rd century Christian condemned to die on a spiked wheel. One of the most bizarre attributes is the one given to St. Lucy. Lucy, next to Catherine, holds her eyes in a dish. Apparently, one of her suitors was smitten with the beauty of her eyes, and fearing she might cause the young man harm, Lucy tore them from her head and sent them to him. Thankfully, despite the gruesome implications of the legend, the artist has chosen to render the eyes not just on the dish, but also in her head.
Federico Zeri, one of the 20th century's most renowned scholars on Italian art, wrote a letter to Bob Jones, Jr., founder of the collection, about this work. In that letter he said, "I saw this enormous panel some years ago in the gallery of the late Frank Sabin in London and did my best for having it bought by the Italian state, but I did not succeed. It is the only signed picture by this curious master. Imola's signature is included in the Latin inscription on the cartouche below Mary. Translated, it reads, 'This work was made by Antonius alias Guidaccio Immolatus, finished in 1470, the 9th day of the month of October. Thanks be to God.' Some have remarked that the final declaration was not only an affirmation of praise, but a sigh of relief for having at last completed all 55 faces in the work.